doing, Phil?
I'm good.
Does that look familiar to you, bro? You got a few of those, don't you?
I got a few of those, you know what I'm saying?
So, Phil, if I'm not mistaken, you're the only one in Olympia history who has all three different Sandows, correct, sir?
Correct. You are the historian.
I try to be, yes. I try to, where the late, great Peter McGuff left off, I try to pick up. Nobody can ever fill Peter's shoes, but you've got the original Sandows that were presented, of course, all throughout history.
Yep.
Then you've got the golden Sandow.
Yes, the 50th.
That was on the 50th anniversary. And the bigger, supersized Sandow, which is what you guys see here today.
Yes.
Well, how's it feel to be back on the stage here at the Olympia weekend?
I mean, it feels really awesome, man. Capacity crowd in here. How you guys doing? They could do a lot better than this. How you guys doing? That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Feels so great to be here, back in Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, I was backstage able to see everybody.
I see Chris, you just were on the stage competing last year.
Yeah, it's weird being up here. A little more body fat, a little less muscle.
Some
a lot
clothes.
more clothes, a lot more clothes for sure, but it's fun to be back here this year for sure. I'm great.
Last year. How about this for an Olympia lineup? Chris, you just were on the stage competing last year.
Yeah, it's weird being up here. A little more body fat, a little less muscle.
Some
a lot
clothes.
more clothes, a lot more clothes for sure, but it's fun to be back here this year for sure. I'm great.
Well, listen, we did the Sunday Seminar last year, and you promised right here on this stage last year that you were retiring from competing, but not from the sport itself, and you would be integral in this year's events. So we appreciate you coming out. I know you got a few tricks coming up for this year in that classic division.
For sure, yeah. They're not my tricks. The guys out here, they earned everything that they're getting, so I'm super excited to see who can take that crown after my retirement.
Well, if you guys got a few minutes, why don't you join me here on our Olympia stage? I'm going to take a seat over here.
You want to sit way over there? I want to sit next
Rare
to
that we
this
get a
Sandow.
chance
That's what I want to do.
we got some
Yeah,
microphones.
you know what I'm saying?
Man, why am I way over here? I'm like way off the grid.
Oh.
Bill, you're looking for number 8 there, I think, buddy.
Nah. We ain't doing all that, but arms ain't going nowhere. But
I don't know, man. Those arms look pretty good to me, champ, and I see you eyeing that thing.
Yeah.
8's a nice little display on the mantle, isn't it?
You know, I came, I saw, I conquered. I was very, very fortunate to be able to compete at a very high level for all those years. A lot of trials and tribulations, obviously, but, you know, I made it out, and I made it out alive and well. I'm just very blessed to be here with all of you guys.
Phil, take me back. You know, we never get a chance really to just kind of shoot the breeze. I mean, we do it in our private time, but in front of a live audience is always great. To kind of get a little more in depth into what did the Olympia mean to you? And did it change from the time that you started and got your first Olympia to the time that you tied Arnold's record at number 7?
You know, I got into the sport October 8th of 2002. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I was going to be on the Olympic stage, let alone walking away with a Sandow. What it's done for me is allowed me an opportunity to find out who I really am, not just as a bodybuilder, but as a man. And, you know, through the grace of God, I was able to, you know, find a lot of, you know, different pathways through all the trials and tribulations that I went through. But most importantly, being able to focus on my body of work, be able to challenge myself, push my limits, meet people from all over the world, being able to inspire different people. You know, when we come to this place in Las Vegas to compete, we get to meet a lot of people. And I know a lot of these athletes get to meet a lot of you, especially after I meet the Olympians. But for me, it was always just about that true, honest, vulnerable connection. And through that body of work, I just really was feeling like expectations being very, very high, but also understanding what the feet felt like as well. And then realizing that I'm only one rep, one set, one more meal away from getting to my goal. And through all of it, I just can't say it enough. I'm just so set, one more meal away from getting to my goal. And through all of it, I just can't say it enough. I'm just so thankful, so grateful for the Mr. Olympia contest, because it is and forever will be the greatest bodybuilding show on the planet.
Well, Flex, you found yourself in a great position some years ago when the 212 division came around, and it gave guys like yourself
understanding what the feet felt like as well, and then realizing that I'm only one rep, one set, one more meal away from getting to my goal. And through all of it, I just can't say it enough. I'm just so thankful, so grateful for the Mr. Olympia contest because it is and forever will be the greatest bodybuilding show on the planet.
Well, Flex, you found yourself in a great position some years ago when the 212 division came around, and it gave guys like yourself an opportunity. And I know towards the end of your career there was maybe some speculation, maybe you would go on open. I know you did an open show somewhere in there, but you found your place. What an opportunity that was. There's been a lot of speculation last year or two. It kind of comes up every once in a while that why do we have these other divisions? Like, what's the point of them? You know, why don't we just have the guys go in the open? Everybody kind of one big happy family. But I think you're a living testament to the fact of what the individual divisions do for athletes like yourself. I'm sure you could have had a decent career in the open, but that's a little different than seven-time Olympia champion, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that 212 class came and was created right at the right time. And it was a true badge of honor where I was able to go around the world, be the spokesperson for, you know, the classes such as the lighter classes, the middleweights, the light heavyweights, even the lighter heavyweights, for a place to find and call their home and be a champion in. And again, I was never given a blueprint to follow. It was really me getting out on the road and meeting people, shaking hands, promoting the sport. And through that, again, this all came from a dream. All came from a dream from a small town in Wales, from Llanelli, small little village where I had posters on the wall of all the top bodybuilders who are now my friends, to then getting into the sport. Through a fluke accident, my path led from a near amputation of my arm. And at 15 years old, I got into the gym, started building up my left arm, and it all led to me to where I am today. And now to look back on the journey, on the path, that was a different guy. That was a focused, forward guy. But I've never forgotten where I've come from. Hence, 20 years in America with this accent is very prideful. And that title is more prideful than anything else. I spoke, I walked, and I talked long before I ever had the official title as a champion. Again, having the opportunity to go around the world through the IFBB as that spokesperson, I've been able to, go to countries I'd never imagined. Talk to fans to encourage them to take the leap, to get on a plane, to compete, to do whatever. And now, full circle, some of these people have got them testimonies that they tell me about them conversations. And suffice to say, all the way up to this day today, people walking through my gym that have jumped on a plane for the first time coming to the United States and walking through the doors literally crying. So again, I think that is the impact, and for me it's all about the legacy, and that 212 class was my legacy. I had full aspirations to go up into the open class, but God has a plan, and I was able to retire undefeated, 21 pro shows, not lost a point in any show I ever done, and I think that was a good little part of my career. So it was, yeah.
Well, Flex, the first title you had to earn was the title of Flex, because when I first met you, you kind of came up and you were a young, spry kid from Wales at Gold's Gym, and you're like, hey guys, my name's Flex Lewis. And we were like, yeah, listen, kid, we already got a Flex, kicking around Gold's Gym, so we're going to call you James until you actually win something. This is a true story, actually. And it was all in good fun, but we actually didn't call you Flex until you won your first show, and you earned that right.
Absolutely. I remember the time and the place. We were actually in the Firehouse, California. I walk into the restaurant having just won my first pro show, and RIP Tom Prince was there along with yourself, and they greeted me with, Flex, come and sit down. And that was a true kind of association to the IFBB crowd right there. And it was, again, earned, not given.
Absolutely, brother. All right, Chris Bumstead. Chris, well, congratulations on an outstanding career, obviously, but you dabbled in the open. You always said for years, I'm going to do one open show when I get done, and just to do it, kind of see where it goes. But I'm pretty much good here with my six Olympia titles. But what did this title mean to you? From day one, you kind of emerged yourself as a superstar fairly early on, but your popularity just went through the roof. You have more followers on all the social media aspects than all the Olympians combined. So how does it feel, though, for somebody like yourself who came up in this business, came into the IFBB Pro League, and you kind of all of a sudden felt yourself as this world-renowned influencer, and I use that term because you are the very essence of an influence, but what does that do here? What does that do to your heart to know that you are so beloved by people all over the world?
Really tough question to hit me with a hard question to start. It's hard to explain what all that means to me. You know, I never ever expected the impact that would have came from this, either on my own life or the life of others. I think coming out of bodybuilding into retirement now, I think what I learned from the people who have done it right is they learned that from their journey it was about the man that they became along the way, more so than just about the journey. And, you know, I always haven't wanted to always be someone who preached too much. I wanted to just take action and do something. And over time, I realized that action was what was having an impact on others. And I feel like the impact bodybuilding had on my life was it was like a young kid who was lost and had no idea what he was doing. And through the circumstance of so many things out of your control, bodybuilding gives you something that is very in your control. You're putting in food into your mouth, you're training, you're sleeping, you're recovering. You find like a path to move forward, even if you don't know where you're going, at least you have a direction. And then you work really hard at that, and through that you find meaning and purpose. And I think through doing that and sharing my story, the impact I never imagined I would have had was now retiring and taking off the selfish lens of my own career and hearing from others. The amount of times people are like, I felt lost in my life and I didn't know what to do, but seeing the passion and the drive you put into something and what you've made from that, whether or not you knew it was going to come from the beginning, but just deciding to work your ass off on something and improve. You know, a lot of young men, I usually say young men because that's who I speak to more often, but young people feel very lost. And in taking control of the small things you can take control of, you find meaning, you find purpose, you create direction. And the Olympia gave me a stage to do that, to share, to have millions of people to follow me. And I feel like in one side of the coin, I'm probably the worst person to have that. Because, like, I still get anxious when people look at me. It's like I don't want the attention. I kind of want to be in the background. But I also think it allowed me just to be myself and to people to appreciate me taking a journey for myself and sharing what I was learning about myself along the way so that they can take that and learn what they need to about themselves. So it's been a hell of a journey, and I'm just super grateful I had that experience, and I found bodybuilding, and I had the Olympia stage to do it, because there's no greater gift than having a purpose where you can work every single day as hard as you can to be the best possible version of yourself in. Not many people get that gift, and I'm just super grateful.
Bill, let me ask you something. When did you figure out in your heart of hearts that you were a bona fide superstar? Was it your first Olympia win? Did it take a few to kind of sink in? At what point did it really hit you that you're Phil Heath, you're the gift? Anywhere you go, somebody knows who you are. Anywhere you go, somebody, hey, can I get a picture? Oh man, I've been watching you for years. Oh man, I've got your articles up on my locker, at school, that type of thing. When did it really hit you that you were a superstar?
Probably that first Mr. Olympia. When I turned pro literally 20 years ago, I went to the Mr. Olympia. Joe Weider gave me my tickets, and I was sitting in the cheap seats. It was kind of during that hazing process, right? And I was able to watch Ronnie Coleman, win his 8th, right? And I was able to hang out with him later on that night, and just being so immersed in his space and realizing, like, wow, like, I'm so blessed just to be around greatness, and seeing how everybody approached him, because I was the kid that actually waited 4.5 hours to meet Ronnie Coleman in Denver, Colorado, when he guest posed at Denver East High School, and just to get 4 autographed signatures that I still have to this day. To then going to that show, watching him, being invited to the after party, and being able to see him work, and seeing his level of work ethic, and then being friends with Jay Cutler, seeing him actually become Mr. Olympia, then being on that stage, getting 3rd at my first Mr. Olympia, being so excited, but at the same time feeling defeat because my friend had lost to Dexter, who I was also friends with. So there's a lot of emotions that go through your mind, and seeing how they're received, whether winning and losing. And then I would calculate all that and say, you know what, Phil, like, you have to have a sense of urgency for this path that you're on, and realize that what goes up can come down, but it's all about the measurement of your manhood by realizing when you're down that you can still connect with people. And like what Chris said, like, that's an opportunity for you to truly connect. And although I didn't have social media at the time, we had the magazines, we had, a little form of social media. But when I realized I was a superstar was when I accepted that role of being a champion, because heavy is the head that wears that crown. And, I did the 2010 Olympia, And I remember being on that stage, and I was like, this is my moment, this is my time. And then it was just myself, and one of my best friends, Jay Cutler. And then when you announced Jay Cutler's name, I took an exhale, and I realized right then and there that I wasn't ready to be a superstar. Although I had the physique, I didn't have the real champion mentality. So therefore, I just didn't focus on beating Jay Cutler. I didn't make him my nemesis. I had to stare in the mirror and realize that if you want to be like Coleman, Dorian, Jay, Dexter, all these people, you have to focus so hard on your weaknesses, your insecurities that you have, and that fear that you have. And I realized that I had to conquer my own belief system. I felt like there's no such thing as confidence without pure self-belief. Because with that self-belief, I can envision myself as being worthy. And I had to take every rep every day of saying, I am worthy, I am here. Although I didn't make it in certain sports such as basketball, I still had a great experience that I was able to learn things, and now I get to apply that with a sport that I never thought I would be in. So then when I was getting ready for the 2011 Mr. Olympia, I said, you're just going to do your absolute best, and then realize that you will be pressured, you will have high expectations, people will want all of your time through sponsorships, through fans that want pictures. I never truly thought I was a superstar. I just knew that I had a platform that required a level of excellence, but more of using that term, that nickname that I have as the gift, that was a gift from God himself to allow me to work on my own parable of talents. You could be a 5-talent person, you could be a 2-talent person, you could be a 1-talent person. And I realized during that journey that I am worthy of something great if I stay obedient to the cause and the purpose that Chris has described, you have described. And never having doubt. Never having doubt. That's what a superstar is, because that is of light through any level of darkness, any why in the road. I had to focus so much on the light that is within me, and that through that repetition, through hardships, realizing that, yeah, you may win the Olympia, but you got to still do all this other stuff. You have to do the media. You have to go on plane rides. You have to be in different countries where you don't know if you're going to be accepted or not. But overall, I just realized that that term superstar has all to do with the fact that I embrace all the love and the prayers that I've received from people that I don't even get to meet. So that is something that we all get to share with you guys, and we're all one people. Everybody in here has a goal. Everybody in here has a purpose. And I just so happen to be welcomed on a bodybuilding stage where I get to do my thing, but really it was God's thing for me. And I just can't thank God enough for what I was able to do. And he gets all the glory. I get to be up here and sit down and be around greatness as well. But you guys have greatness inside. You guys are championing through your own level of darkness. But there is a why in the road. There is a path that you can see. There is a river in the desert. If you believe it, you will see it and you will do it. That to me is being a superstar. And if you can do it over and over and over again, man, you can not only be 7-time, but you can be 8-time, 10-time in your own personal life. What I will say, and I would love to hear from you guys, I feel like this is just the beginning of what we were able to do in life. This is not what truly defines us as men. What really defines us is what we do with the platform that we were blessed to have. And I know with Chris having multiple businesses, being a father, being a husband, that is amazing. To me, that is even more than the followers that you could ever have, and I know you know that. Flex, I've watched you from the very beginning. I pulled you aside when you didn't win the 212 championship. What did I tell you? I said, it is going to be your turn at some point, and you're going to have that kung fu freaking grip, and you're not going to let anyone take it away, and you did that. But that's something that we get to share with you guys. So I just want to say thank you all for being here, listening to us talk, pour our hearts out. There's so many stories that we don't have enough time to share, but I will say, when I get to go home, I get to really take this all in. There are tears that flow. There have been on many plane rides where I've sat there and been like, how freaking lucky am I? How freaking fortunate am I? It ain't just about us. It's about you. It's about the promoters. It's about, you know, these lights. But it's really about what we're able to do with it. And I just want to implore you all to continue on your own path to greatness, wherever you are, if you're feeling down and out. We've been down. We've been injured. We've been going through different stuff.